What's up, y'all? I'm just sitting here thinking like I always do. And the subject that's on my mind today is church hurt. And I'm wondering why we as in us Christians, us followers of Christ, us disciples of Jesus, why we think that church hurt really doesn't have anything to do with us. And I say we think it doesn't have anything to do with us based on the way that we respond or discuss people who have church hurt. We say things like they must not have been a mature Christian. They must not have had a real relationship with the Lord. Maybe they weren't even saved. They must not love God if they let this get in between their relationship with Him. But maybe you didn't get in between their relationship with Him. Maybe the enemy tried to use you to get in between their relationship with Him. But the Lord said He holds them all in His right hand and not one will fall. So if they are His child, they are His child. And just like Lucy, you got some splaining to do. Because, baby, listen, you cannot mistreat people, be unkind, unloving, ungodly in your behavior, and then turn around and say when people allow that for themselves, when they leave the church or they step away, that it's on them because they didn't really love the Lord. They didn't really have a good relationship with the Lord. No, the church is where the broken people gather. The disciples should be out discipling and gathering the lost so that they can come into the church and be healed and made whole, so they can learn about the Lord and develop that relationship. So if we look at it from that perspective, everybody in the church is basically, I don't know if it was Peter or Paul, on milk. They're on milk. The church is for people who need milk. The church is for people who need healing, guidance, direction. True enough, the disciples, we gonna meet up. We gonna chat. We gonna encourage one another in the Lord and go back out and do the work. But the church is for the hurting. Can you imagine going to a hospital wounded, and instead of patching your wounds or showing you how to patch and care for your wounds, they give you some new ones? Like you went in and your cornea was scratched, but it was repairable, and instead they just took your whole eye. That's what some of these churches, that's what some of us are doing in church. We're supposed to reflect the character of God, but then we get mad when people look at us and don't see God and walk the other way, and we say it's their fault because they obviously didn't have a relationship with the Lord. They obviously don't have a love for the Lord. They must not have been saved. They're immature. And if they are immature, if you're mature enough to know that they're immature, then you're mature enough to have heard from the Lord that you was wrong. And if you heard it and you disregarded it because you used all the legalism that people like to use in the word, you a whole I ain't gonna get the donkey out the ditch on Sunday type of Christian instead of I'm gonna love my brother regardless to what it costs me type of Christian, you are being part of the problem. And we have all been part of the problem. I've been a hypocrite. Being a hypocrite is easy. But you know what else is easy? Loving people. I've learned as I've healed. You know what we need more of in the church? Therapy. Not just counseling with your pastor. Because if your pastor got the same mindset as you, and he just might because he the one teaching you, then you're not going to get no further. You need therapy. Get over your stuff so you can reflect the true, loving, kind, patient character of God. You're supposed to reconcile it with your brother. If you're the mature Christian, God told you to reconcile it. So go do that. Reconcile it. Be obedient. Do what He's called you to do. Reflect His light. Stop blaming people for running back into the worldly darkness, because when they came into the church for the light, you had your switch off. that day. Worldly darkness, you can understand. We all been there. We know how to navigate it. I know how to navigate it, baby. I can make my way through the world. But church darkness is a whole other thing. It's a whole other level of disappointment and hurt and pain. People come to the church seeking, in need. We're supposed to be there, letting God lead us into meeting those needs, hearing His word, His guidance into meeting those needs. Let's stop being so arrogant, church, and blaming people for their exodus. And let's also always remember that just like the Lord protects us, there's no guarantee that they didn't stop coming to your church because the Lord was protecting them from you. Y'all have the most beautiful, wonderful day.